Hold up. Before you click away, what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you see the Indiana Fever's season. Because while everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark's return date, there's something much bigger happening behind closed doors that could determine whether she even wants to come back at full strength. And trust me, after what just happened against Dallas, Fever fans are absolutely losing it. Listen, if you're a Caitlin Clark fan like most of us here, you need to hear this entire story because what ESPN just revealed about her return timeline is only half the truth. The real drama? It's what's happening with Coach Stephanie White that has the entire fan base ready to revolt. So hit that like button if you want Caitlin back on the court, and let's dive into this absolute mess. Picture this. Tuesday night, August 12th, Gainbridge Fieldhouse packed with 18,000 screaming fans. The Fever are up against the Dallas Wings, a team they should absolutely demolish at home. Everything's going fine until the third quarter when something unthinkable happens. A 19-0 run. Let me say that again. 19-0 at home against one of the worst teams in the league. The crowd went from electric to silent in about 4 minutes. And you know what Stephanie White did during that catastrophic meltdown? Absolutely nothing. No timeout, no adjustments, just watched her team get completely embarrassed on their home court. But wait, it gets worse. Because while this disaster was unfolding, Ryan Ruocco on ESPN casually drops a bombshell about Caitlin Clark's return. According to their insider information, Clark has been running more, doing more on-court work, and the team is eyeing a potential return around August 22nd or 24th. That's against Minnesota. But here's what ESPN didn't tell you. Sources close to the team are saying Clark is watching these games from home, and she's not happy with what she's seeing. Think about it. You're the face of the franchise. You've been injured for what feels like forever, missing 18 games already this season with 3 different injuries, and you're watching your coach make the same mistakes over and over. No wonder some insiders are whispering that Clark might not rush back even when she's physically ready. Let's talk about what really went down against Dallas, because this perfectly shows why Fever fans are done with Stephanie White. Kelsey Mitchell was having a solid game, Aaliyah Boston was dominating in the paint, and then there's Sophie Cunningham, who couldn't miss from 3. She was absolutely on fire, knocking down shot after shot. So naturally, what does defensive mastermind Stephanie White do? She benches Cunningham for Damiris Dantas. I'm not making this up. She literally took out the hot hand for someone who proceeded to go 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. And this isn't just a one-time thing, this is Stephanie White's entire coaching philosophy. She doesn't believe in riding the hot hand. She actually said this in a press conference earlier this season. She believes in strict rotation patterns regardless of who's feeling it on any given night. In the modern game where analytics and feel both matter, she's stuck in some weird coaching time warp from 20 years ago. You want to know the craziest part? After the game, instead of taking responsibility, White blamed the refs. She went on this whole rant about how Aaliyah Boston is the worst officiated post player in the league. And look, she might have a point about the refs, but when you blow a game like that, when you let a 19-0 run happen without calling a single timeout, you don't get to blame the officials. You look in the mirror. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something nobody's talking about. Remember how the Fever brought in Stephanie White as this defensive genius who was going to transform the team? Well, let me hit you with some stats that'll blow your mind. Last year, under Christy Sides, who everyone said was terrible, the Fever won 20 games. This year, with a supposedly better coach and an improved roster, they're sitting at 18-15. Take away their 4 wins against the Chicago Sky, who are basically a development league team at this point, and the Fever are 14-15, below 500, with a roster that includes Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and when healthy, Caitlin Clark. The fan base is completely split right now. You've got one group defending White, saying she needs time to implement her system. Then you've got another group, and it's growing by the day, who want her gone immediately. One fan posted, and I quote, "Stephanie White needs to look in the mirror and take responsibility for not calling a reset timeout. Having a simple play drawn up where Natasha Howard is under the basket, not handling the ball. Coach had terrible clock management and zero strategy when it counted most." Another fan was even more direct. She is a terrible coach. Her rotations are terrible. She doesn't recognize a hot hand. We haven't gotten any calls all year, but that's no longer usable as an excuse at this point. And honestly, they're right. You know what's even more frustrating? Austin Kelly, the assistant coach who filled in when White had to miss games earlier this season for personal reasons, actually won those games. The team looked more fluid, more engaged, more like they were actually having fun playing basketball. Some fans are now saying maybe we should see what Kelly could do with a longer run. But let's get back to Caitlin Clark, because her situation is what really matters here. This is her second season, and she's already missed more games than she did in her entire college career at Iowa. Think about that. She played 185 consecutive games in college, never missing one. Now in her second pro season, she's been out with a left quad strain, then a left groin injury, and now a right groin injury. The Fever are 3-4 without her, but that record doesn't tell the whole story. When Clark plays, even when she's not at 100%, the team has a completely different energy. The crowd is different. The TV ratings are different. Everything is different. And now we're hearing she might not return until late August, which means she'll have played in maybe 20 games total this season. For a player who was the betting favorite to win MVP before the season started, this has been an absolute disaster. Here's what I think is really happening, and this is just my opinion based on everything I'm hearing. Caitlin Clark is being extra cautious with her return, not just because of the physical injuries, but because she's not confident in the coaching staff to put her in positions to succeed. Why risk coming back early when you're going to be thrown into a system that doesn't maximize your talents? Look at what happened in her last game before this current injury. She was forced to play through excessive physicality, something White acknowledged but refused to strongly address. White literally said, and I'm quoting here, "There's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is." That's your coach basically saying, yeah, my star player is getting beat up every game and I'm not going to do anything about it. Compare that to how other coaches protect their stars. When teams got too physical with Steph Curry, Steve Kerr would lose his mind on the sidelines. When LeBron takes hard fouls, his coaches immediately get in the refs' faces. But Stephanie White? She got fined once for mildly criticizing the officials, and now she's scared to speak up. She literally said in a press conference, "Are you trying to get me fined again?" That's weakness. That's not protecting your franchise player. So here's where we're at right now. The earliest Caitlin Clark might return is August 22nd against Minnesota, but even that's not guaranteed. The team said she's doing more running, more on-court work, but there's no official timeline. Stephanie White keeps saying they're taking it day by day, prioritizing her long-term health. But what she's not saying is that the team's performance without Clark is exposing massive coaching deficiencies that can't be hidden anymore. The Fever still have games against Washington on Friday and Connecticut on Sunday before that potential week off. If they lose both of those games, which is very possible given how they're playing, the pressure on Stephanie White is going to reach a boiling point. Some fans are already calling for her to be fired immediately. Others are saying give her until Clark returns and see if things improve. But here's the thing, even when Clark comes back, is anything really going to change? White's rigid rotations, her refusal to ride the hot hand, her passive approach to protecting her players, none of that is suddenly going to transform just because number 22 is back on the court. If anything, it might make things worse because Clark's going to be rusty, probably not at full strength, and thrown into a system that already wasn't working. You want to know what's really sad about all this? This was supposed to be the year. The Fever had momentum from last season, they had an improved roster, they brought in a coach with championship experience, and instead, they're barely treading water, their star player can't stay healthy, and the fan base is in complete chaos. Some nights they look like a championship contender, other nights they're getting blown out by expansion teams. I'll leave you with this thought. The Indiana Fever have one of the most passionate fan bases in the entire WNBA. They've got arguably the most marketable player in the league when she's healthy, they've got solid talent throughout the roster, but none of that matters if the coaching isn't there, and right now, based on what we're seeing, Stephanie White might not be the answer. The question is, will the front office have the courage to make a change if things don't improve when Clark returns? Or will they waste another year of Clark's prime, hoping things magically get better? The clock is ticking. August 22nd is coming fast. And when Caitlin Clark steps back on that court, if she steps back on that court, all eyes will be watching to see if this team can finally put it together. Because if they can't, if they continue to underperform with a healthy Clark, then this entire season will go down as one of the biggest disappointments in WNBA history. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Stephanie White the problem? Should the Fever make a coaching change? And most importantly, when do you think Caitlin Clark will actually return? Hit that subscribe button for more updates on this developing situation, because trust me, this story is far from over. Until next time, keep supporting women's basketball, and let's hope we see Caitlin back on the court soon. Peace out!